This show is part of the RetroZap.com podcast network.
And welcome everybody to a Christmas episode of the Animaniacs. Ho ho ho.
Hello, kids.
This is Yakko, Wacko,
And Dot.
We're the Warner Brothers.
And the Warner sister.
Welcome to the Animaniacs in A Christmas Plotz. It's our absolutely wild and crazy holiday read-along. When you hear this sound,
Ho ho ho.
you'll know it's time to turn the page.
So turn the page already.
Ho ho ho.
And welcome once again to the Animaniacs. We're the only podcast out there that's dedicated to the animated television series, Animaniacs. And here we explore the series episode by episode. We talk about all the cultural references and gags that we can find. And of course, in the end, we give each episode a Water Tower rating. I am Joey, and joining me once again is my brother Nathan.
You don't need popcorn for this show.
And joining us across the country in Georgia, it's Kelly.
Hi.
Well, we are not talking about an episode of Animaniacs today. We're talking about sort of an episode, I guess, tangentially.
Kind of an episode we talked about before.
Tangentially, we'll be talking about an episode. We're going to be talking about a Christmas album, which came out in 1995 originally, and I believe later was released on CD. First on cassette in 1995, it looks like, and then later on CD in 1997. This is known as Animaniacs, starring in a Hip-Hopera Christmas, A Christmas Plotz. So yes, A Christmas Plotz, which was originally on the cartoon show. I believe it was episode 49, if I'm not mistaken, of Animaniacs, got a hip-hop treatment. And it's a approximately 17-minute long album, produced in part by rapper Kool Moe Dee. And the name sounded a little bit familiar. I don't know if the name sounded familiar to either of you two.
No.
It's familiar, yeah.
Yeah, see, old school. Me and Kelly are like, yeah, it sounds a little familiar. Nathan's like, never heard of him.
Yeah, what?
Well, Kool Moe Dee is perhaps, I think, best known for the song Wild Wild West.
Oh, Will Smith.
No. Before the Wild Wild Will Smith, there is the Wild Wild West song, which I don't really remember much of that, other than as a kid I would just like singing along to it.
I used to live downtown, 129th Street.
So before we get into our discussion of all this, let me just ask you two, if someone were to ask you in a few words about this lovely Christmas album, what would you tell them, Nathan?
Well, it's not great. Yeah.
And Kelly, what about you?
I mean, if you really like rap, I think it might be enjoyable to you.
I almost feel like if you like rap, you might hate it more, but I don't know. Because it is something else, let me tell you. And we'll give you a little commentary that Nathan and I heard a little bit from Tom Ruger last week when we mentioned this. He said, "Oh, that's bad."
That gives you a little insight.
Little insight of his involvement. He had no involvement in this album, by the way. But you might ask yourself, "Hey, wait a minute. When did you speak to Tom Ruger? When did this go on?" Well, have we got a story for you? Oh man, Nathan, tell us what happened. What the heck happened?
Oh, So, like, just the other week, we went to Tom Ruger's house and met him in person. We met some other famous people like Maurice LaMarche, Chick Panera, John Mariano. They were all there. The good feathers.
Yeah. And we had, and not only that, but we had Luke Ruger as our photographer. So we had.
That's true.
So, he's the voice of the flame. So we had excellent lighting on all of our pictures that were being taken. Anyway, unfortunately, Kelly wasn't able to join us across the thing. So, yeah.
No, too far on the other side of the country.
I know. And it really was, you want to talk about a last minute thing. This really became a last minute trip. It basically started when I just kind of I saw that Chick Vanera had a website, reached out to him, and then he said, "Hey, yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to sit down with the other guys. I haven't seen him in so long." And at that point I was like, "Oh, he wants to sit down with them in person. What should I do?" Because we don't usually do these by, in person. We do them, of course, via Skype.
Too expensive.
It's too expensive. We can't just fly out to LA every week. I remember texting or, messaging you two saying, "Hey, look at this message that Chick just sent us." And it said that. And I was just like, I think he wants me to go out there. And whatever. And, well, long story short, I got in contact with Maurice LaMarche and then John Mariano, and Tom Ruger said, "Come on over to our house." And so we all got together last week, just a week ago. It's so crazy. That was just a week ago.
It's amazing that you were able to pull all those people together, particularly here at the holidays, all at the same time. Absolutely.
I mean, and that's the thing. I think we were going to do it a week or so later because, I'm a teacher and I, luckily I was able to, get out of school for a couple days, but it's a busy, busy time. So I said, well, maybe a little bit later, like after Christmas or something like that. But John was going to be out of town for like a month or so. So we just said, well, let's do it now. So luckily it all worked out. Yeah. It's amazing how everything just kind of fell into place. And it's going to be we have a very, very special episode. It'll be on next week, December 30th. It'll be a Good Feathers reunion.
Oh, we recorded it.
We did. Thank goodness.
Oh, good. Okay.
Everything recorded. Now,
I got worried.
Yeah.
That would be a good thing, a good way to bring in the new year.
It will be an excellent way because, and here's the thing. These gentlemen had not been in the same room together for 21 years. Like, when Animaniacs wrapped up, they went their separate ways. And so they had worked so closely for so long. And let me tell you, when they got back together, it was just like no time had, passed at all. They just got right back into it. You're going to hear them doing Good Feathers, are going to be joining us. Pesto, Squit, and Bobby, and of course the God Pigeon are all there. We hear some great stories about them working together, and I think I'll share this quick message here from John Mariano, at least part of it, because he was really nice. He sent me a message afterwards just talking about how, the reunion had ended up being a highlight of his week and the holiday season and things like that. And he said, "I'm tremendously grateful to you and the Animaniacast podcast, and especially to all the fans who listen. Please tell them thank you. I am glad that I contributed in some small way to making a kid's childhood better. And thank you so much for the gift." Ooh, the gift. They got a gift. We'll have more details about that gift that they got next week. Anyway, that was just a little small sample right there. So we're really excited about that episode. And I'm sure you guys are going to love it. Love it, love it. And yeah, well, we might have a special little giveaway too as well. So...
Ooh, I want things.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into it later. But anyway.
No, okay.
Yeah, I can't talk about that right now, Nathan. Okay, so anyway, tune in next week, December 30th. Download and listen as soon as you can because you will not want to miss that. It's a great way to listen to it.
Make sure you're subscribed, and that way you get it right away.
Exactly.
If you're not.
Hint, hint. Anyway, well, let's go ahead and get into today's discussion. And this is going to be, boy, oh boy, this is going to be something else. This is Animaniacs starring in a Hip-Hopera Christmas A Christmas Plotz. Let me tell you a little bit about this album before we get going. This was, of course, adapted from the cartoon by Randy Rogel and Paul Rugg. The hip-hop musical performers Yakko and Ralph Jr. are once again performed by Rob Paulson, Wacko Jess Harnell, Dot Tress McNeil, Plotz and Ralph, Frank Welker, and Slappy Squirrel, Sherry Stoner. Now, the other singers that we have Kool Moe Dee, we have Alvin Che, David Thomas, Robin Fellows, Letitia Lewis, Renee Martin, Prix Moe, Craig Bartok, Tony Haynes, and Will Wheaton.
That Will Wheaton?
No. I was waiting for Kelly to go, wait a minute. Because I read that and I went, Will Wheaton's in this? What?
Rand.
It was the name I was not expecting to see. But yeah, it's a different Will Wheaton. And yeah, I had to do some Googling around to figure that out. But yeah, it looks like it's a totally different Will Wheaton. So yes, anyway, written, produced, directed by Tony Haynes. And yeah, it looks like it says Animaniacs voices directed by Andrea Romano. So she might have had a hand in this, perhaps. I'm guessing perhaps even just sent in the tracks to them, like Kool Moe Dee and stuff. That's what I kind of get the feeling. I get the feeling this album, just from listening to it, was almost like recorded on two different levels. Like the audio quality, I don't know about you, Nathan, Kelly, but whenever the characters talk, it sounds like a little more muffled or something than the rest of the singers. Did you notice that?
A little. I mean, the whole thing's just so bad.
The whole thing is, you wish it was more muffled.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about how this episode, or cartoon, or not cartoon, story, album.
But it was written by Randy Rogel and Paul Rugg?
Originally based. It's kind of like, when you see a movie loosely based upon the book. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is very closely based upon it, but boy, oh boy, some of the best parts of the original Christmas Plotz, which is Randy Rogel's music, say goodbye to that stuff.
And Spielberg wasn't involved in any way, shape, or form of this, right?
No, not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. Okay.
I would know if he was.
Yes. So let's go ahead and talk about how this opens. First of all, this opens with a nice little, kind of like a lot of books and tapes used to start off with when we were kids. It's kind of the turn the page when you hear this sound. Ho, ho, ho. So this was cute. I liked the opening of it. What did you guys think about the opening? Was it kind of promising so far?
I thought Dot sounded a little weird for some reason, but I don't know. It was fine. Ho, ho, ho. Turn the page already.
Ho, ho, ho. And Kelly, any thoughts about the opening of this?
I agree that Dot did sound a little strange. I mean, they probably used some different recording equipment or something. Because I thought all their voices sounded slightly different than from the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they recorded it in a different place or something was different, then there probably would be slight variations.
Yeah. Well, I got this. I had gotten this tape actually originally off of eBay, and it comes with a full story, little booklet, kind of like a paperback version of a Golden Book, and the actual cassette tape on top. And I quickly snatched it up thinking, oh, I got to get this. This is so weird. And I listened to it and I went, oh, man. And then even though it's so bad, I actually did buy the CD of this later off of eBay as well. So I've sunk some change into this horrible thing. So, yeah, as painful as it was to listen to, guys, it was even more painful on my wallet. So there you go. Let's go ahead and talk about how the album first starts up. You think, okay, let's get going into Animaniacs. And what do we hear? Jingle bells. And
not just any jingle bells.
Like a bad jingle bells.
Yeah.
And it goes on for a long time. It goes on for like 2 minutes.
Jingle bell,
really feels like, I think it goes 2.5 minutes into this album before the actual story starts. Yeah. Well,
I don't know. The song reminded me of a Lonely Island for some reason. Like one of the singers sounded so much like Andy Samberg that I was like, this is Lonely Island. Like,
I think that's cool. I think that's Kool Moe Dee. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think Andy Samberg he's kind of doing an impression of not necessarily Kool Moe Dee, but of that sort of rapper from the 80s, 90s, and a lot of Lonely Island stuff, I think. Yeah.
The background music sounded like something from an adult film.
Got us upside,
Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
jingle all the way.
Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. I wanna ride.
Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the line, not a worker was stirring,
But that is Plotz.
outside there were carolers.
This is an ongoing thing throughout the entire album, I think, is that there's a lot of like I don't know, weird ting, tong, bang, bang, like just off rhythm kind of stuff. And it goes into this.
I think that's called dissonant
Okay.
or dissonance.
It's
I think.
certainly.
I'm not a musical expert, but
Yeah, it's certainly doesn't sound pretty. And it doesn't sound Christmassy. Anyway, then we get to this kind of sing-songy talking thing between Plotz and Ralph.
Wrapping around the security guard, walking through lots of bits.
While he was working hard.
How'd they work?
Merry Christmas!
Said Ralph.
Here's a Christmas present. I hope it will do. It's a fruitcake my wife and I baked just for you.
In 1952.
When you read it normally on here, it doesn't, like when I'm looking at the actual booklet, it doesn't even look like a rap. It says, "Another fruitcake," shouted Plotz. "It's exactly what I need to stop the singing, indeed." Plotz threw the fruitcake out the window, hitting Dot on the spot on the top of her head. "Ouch," she said.
Another fruitcake?
Shouted Plotz.
It's exactly what I need to stop the singing indeed.
First threw the fruitcake out the window, hit that on the spot, on the top of her head.
She said,
Ho, ho, ho.
What did you guys think about this? I mean, now we're starting to get actually into the story, and we haven't even seen one of the ghosts yet. Nathan, what are you thinking? What's your impressions?
It doesn't sound like music.
Certainly doesn't sound like music.
Are you talking rap? I don't know. That's, to quote Plotz himself, I don't know. Just
And he can't talk rap either.
yeah.
yeah, I mean, rap's not my musical genre. But if I hear a good rap song, I can appreciate it. When I hear good music, I can appreciate it. And it just made me think. I have a Sailor Moon soundtrack from about this time period, from the American version of Sailor Moon.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually bought that CD and listened to it, and the music is so much better than this. But of course, I'm trying to be fair here because it's mostly pop kind of songs on the Sailor Moon soundtrack. But I just found it much easier to listen to, and yeah. I really try to approach this with an open mind. I mean, you helped color my attitude about it though, because you're like, it's so bad. But I was like, no, I'm gonna try to give it a fair shot. And it's hard to say if it's just not my kind of music or if it's bad. But I think it's bad. I think you're right.
Well,
And I wish I could say exactly why I feel it's bad, but I don't have the musical vocabulary to adequately say. It felt they felt out of character for the characters, for one thing.
yeah, it definitely felt it didn't feel in character. It didn't feel well. Anyway, let's just show people what we're talking about. Let's play the sample here of Slappy Squirrel as the ghost before she came in the show, and she had a nice little funny gags.
Why don't you lighten up?
Horrible old squirrel. What are you doing here?
That's what I'd like to know. The studio keeps giving me these stupid cameos. All right, hang on. I got a couple of lines here. Tonight you will be visited by 3 ghosts.
Why?
I don't know. I lost the other page.
And now she comes in and she sings the following.
Plotz strode back to his desk and his books, then suddenly took on a fearful look. Slappy Squirrel, once a famous cartoon star, had mysteriously out of nowhere appeared. Don't you think? Rather weird. And she said,
Plotz, my man, tonight you'll be host to a trio of unpredictable ghosts. So I'd knuckle down if I was you and get yourself ready for the boo-hoo-hoo. Ha 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 ha! Bet you was gone like a sneeze into the breeze.
Yeah, there's our first big rap number.
It's not great. Again, I think it would be better if it was just spoken. I don't think it needs to be in a rap form. I think it would be less annoying and more in character.
Definitely for Slappy too. You would almost feel like she would not. Yeah. She wouldn't rap, right?
I don't think so.
I mean, she would be the kind of person that go, enough of this rap music, especially this beat. Oh my gosh. I don't know.
She'd be like, enough with the singing already.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of Slappy Squirrel, Kelly got one of the coolest shirts on TeePublic.
I did.
You can get it too if you go to tpublic.animaniacast.com.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. And that, of course, is the who shirt with Slappy on it and says, what's the name of the band on stage on it? It's such a cool shirt.
I feel like it was made for me personally. I really do.
Yeah, I had to.
I mean, in a way, it was because I picked my size and color, but I feel like it was designed for me. I think that's awesome.
It's such a cool
I've been
shirt.
waiting my whole life for this shirt.
I know, and especially because there's never any Slappy Squirrel stuff. So, so cool that got. And by the way, I don't think I told you. I think Nathan, you were there, but we gave Tom Ruger as a little Christmas gift when we were at his house, and we gave him this little Haunted Mansion mug, which is a design off of our store, which says Foolish Mortals on it, and on it has Yakko, Wacko, and Dot, Scratch and Sniff, Hello Nurse, and Slappy Squirrel, all in the portraits on the Haunted Mansion right there, like the stretching portraits. And it's a really cool, it looks especially cool in a mug, because we got him the travel mug, so it stretches out the entire time. It looks really, really cool. And we gave it to him, and he's like, "Oh, this is from your shop." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Oh, I bought a bunch of stuff from there." And he bought a couple. He bought a few Freakazoid shirts, and there's a Skippy Squirrel shirt on there, and I think a Pinky and the Brain shirt as well that he had purchased or something like that. So,
That's cool.
Yeah, hey, some of those designs get the seal of endorsement from Tom Ruger. So there you go. You can't get much better than that.
All right.
So there's your commercial break. tpublic.animaniacast.com. Well, so the story continues, and of course the next ghost is going to be the ghost of Christmas past. And in the original Christmas Plotz, Wacko has this really fun song, upbeat, sounds great.
On the ghost of Christmas past in all the folks that you've harassed. Glad that I am here at last, cause Mr. CEO, it's movie time, relax and see as we climb up your family tree and look at how you used to be many years ago.
However, in this version, Wacko sounds like this.
I'm the ghost of Christmas past and all the folks that you've harassed. It's time for the movie CEO. Stuff from a long time ago. I'm the ghost of Christmas past. You're gonna see it all at last. You don't need popcorn for this show, and the only seats I've got are front row. So kick back and settle down. You're going back to when you were diaper bound. From there, you'll work your way back to where you are now. You're moving and you're moving fast with the ghost of Christmas past. I think you'll recognize the cast with the ghost of Christmas past. Fasten your seatbelts, Mr. Plotz. It's going to be a bumpy night. Are you scared yet? I know I am. So, you got any snacks? Maybe some chestnuts roasting on an open fire? Maybe I'll just nibble at your nose.
Ho, ho, ho.
I'm the ghost of Christmas past. All that stuff. Wow. So there's Wacko's song.
Yeah,
And
not good.
it is changed. And I guess they were going for a spooky feel. I don't know.
I liked it better than any of the songs, any of the other songs.
I will give you that. This is the best song in the entire album. Especially because it gets in my head. I mean, that ghost of Christmas past will get in my head. Nothing, thank merciful heavens that the rest of the song does not get in my head, because it would be a horrible song to get in my head, I think. But it's not as bad as the other ones, right, Nathan?
I don't know. I thought it was just as bad.
Plotz watched the TV screen, and there he was as a baby boy, doing what a baby Plotz would do. In front of Mom, he shocked her by yelling at the doctor.
You slapped me, and now I'm gonna sue!
The next picture showed Plotz as a young lad, visiting Santa with his lawyer. And what a long visit they had. In the last picture, Plotz was firing his dad, taking over the studio himself. That boy was bad.
Ho, ho, ho.
The next ghost we have, of course, is Dot. And she's the ghost of Christmas Present. And again, the original song that we had for Dot was incredibly upbeat and almost sounded like the song I'm Mad, I'm Mad. So maybe kind of like the beginnings of that kind of beat, perhaps by Randy Rogel. But here's a clip of the original.
Thaddeus Plotz, you mean old man, causing pain wherever you can. It's all about to hit the fan, you greedy CEO. You're guilty in the first degree of causing pain and misery. Now it's time for you to see, so hang on, here we go.
And now here's the song Ghost of Christmas Present from this album.
I'm the ghost of Christmas present. The here and now. I'll guide you. You will come to Ralph's house with me. Mr. Plotz, whether you want to go or not. I'm the ghost of Christmas present. And here's my vow. I will show you just how sad one family can be. Mr. Plotz, whether you want to go or not. In the present tense today. This very minute. Right away. It's your present. It's your gift. It'll be painful, but it will be swift. You may not like it a lot, but it's your life, Mr. Plotz.
Ho, ho, ho.
What did you think of that song, guys?
I mean, it's bad.
I'm sensing a theme here.
Yeah.
It stinks.
It stinks.
It
stinks.
It's not that great. I mean, again, you're taking two songs that were so good, and then totally ignoring it, and then making it into something else. I personally don't have a problem with rap at all, but this is bad stuff. Well, then when I was originally looking at the story, I'm like, well, great. Wacko has a rap. Dot will have a rap, but I'm really interested to see what Yakko's rap will be, because he had the best song, in my opinion, of A Christmas Plotz, with, going up the stairs and all the dancing girls, and it had the most energy and it looked really cool.
Relax, chill out, forget about your cares. This is a man who knows what he wants. He's also a man nobody wants. Come on, it's time for you to climb these stairs. You got a good head on your shoulders, Plotz. Too bad you haven't got a neck. Show 'em what you can do.
This is stupid.
The future is waiting for you.
Leave me alone.
Come on, Plotz, 'cause you got lots to see before we're through.
But in this, Plotz just tells him not to sing, and so Yakko says he doesn't, and then he just pushes him off the edge, and there's no song.
After hearing this, what's trembling even more than the book that disappeared, and just like before, Plotz was in his office and the sound of thunder and lightning became loud and clear. Yakko appeared,
And Plotz found this rather frightening.
I'm the ghost of Christmas future.
Yakko explained.
No, not another song.
Scream Plotz!
Okay, I won't sing.
Yakko replied.
Yakko took Plotz up a large staircase, and when he reached the top as he planned it, Yakko gave Plotz a push on the tush. Down and down he went till he landed.
Ho, ho, ho.
In an office that looked like his, but there was a difference. Ralph Jr. was now the big boss. Plotz said,
What's he doing here? I'm the boss, and will be for as long as I live.
Not in the future.
said Yakko.
Of that, I'm positive.
So, Nathan, I guess you were kind of saved right there.
I guess. But, I mean, they're also kind of singing the whole time anyway.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. The narration, however, I think, in some ways gets worse. Because then the album, as it starts to close out the story, you start having this operatic soprano woman singing.
Which didn't mesh with anything else at all.
No, but this is definitely where the Hip-Hopera comes in, right? The Hopera in this album really goes into full effect here at the end.
Plotz cried and beat his fists on the floor like a baby.
This can't happen to me. He can't do this. This is crazy.
So what else is new around here?
And it starts getting really hard to understand. A lot of parts are, at least for me, when I'm just listening to this album, if I'm not reading along with it, it's a little hard to understand what they're necessarily even saying at some points.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Well, it ends off with just like, the cartoon itself. Ralph sees the error of his ways because he realizes that if he doesn't change, then Ralph Jr. will look like Jeffrey Katzenberg or something like that, and will get him fired.
Junior was filled with the toys, and as a matter of fact, his parents are truly taken aback when Plotz suffered from his security jump back. And oh, how grateful the big boss was when Ralph Jr. said,
Mr. Plotz, I promise I will never ever take over the Warner Brothers studio lot.
Everyone was about to go in and enjoy a splendiferous meal when Yakko, Wacko, and Dot came bouncing up the hill.
And everyone raised their eyebrows on a fruitcake you could have built a small house on.
Ho, ho, ho.
and like a perfect fate when shouting at the right on Mr. Plotz.
Ho, ho, ho.
Don't worry, Mr. Plotz.
What will begin to show?
By Easter, you'll have eaten your way out.
They couldn't hear exactly what Plotz was saying under all their pain, but they were sure he was wishing everyone a Merry Christmas. For goodness sake, with a heart so kind and pure.
Ho, ho, ho.
Is fruitcake still a thing?
Not as much as it was I don't think it was ever necessarily a thing. I remember it was a big joke in the 80s and 90s, like on sitcoms and everything. And I don't think
I mean, we had one time. Somebody gave us one as a gift, but it was like a brick.
Oh, really? See, I've never had fruitcake ever.
I mean, I didn't eat it. I was like, that's disgusting. But, I mean, no. But, yeah, I mean, I hear about it all the time, but I only remember it like once from my childhood.
Well, it all closes off with Deck the Halls, which, again, it sounded, I think this kind of sounded better than the opening Jingle Bells song.
Yeah, I think so.
It had I mean, they dumped in Dot saying "Hello, Kid" again, I think, from the original thing. But it has no Animaniacs in it at all. By the time you get to Deck the Halls, this album is done. Animaniacs content is gone. And, yeah, there you go. There's that wonderful Christmas album. I was so excited when I saw the image of Animaniacs Hip-Hopera Christmas Plotz. I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be so cool. And boy, oh boy, I could see why this album has not been republished and has not been celebrated over the years. It's pretty bad. Any final thoughts before we get to our water tower rating, guys?
I'm gonna give it 5 water towers. Oh wait, no, sorry. No final thoughts. Let's get to the water towers, I guess.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get to it. So, out of 5 water towers, how many would you give this one? Kelly, let's start with you.
1.5.
1.5?
Yeah, it just wasn't pleasant to listen to. I like you said, some of the lyrics were hard to understand, and I just didn't feel like it flowed very well musically, and there was just the one song from Wacko that I thought was a little better than the other ones. So yeah, no, 1.5.
Nathan, what about you?
I'm gonna go with 1 water tower. Is that as low as we go?
I think you could probably go for a half, I suppose.
Okay, I'll say half a water tower. This is the perfect album. If you want to torture someone, just put this on in the background, and boy, they'll be telling you all the secret FBI codes or whatever you need to know in just moments.
Oh man, yeah, I'll go right. I guess I'll go right in between you guys. I'll go 1. I'll say 1. Just because I don't know. It's bad, and I would give it a half, but I can't give it a half and my conscience would not be at rest if I gave it a half a water tower rating, and with the amount, like, cause I spent like $10 for the tape, and then I spent like, I think 20 for the CD. So I put like $30 into this stupid thing.
Wow.
Yeah. So if I gave it a half, I'd be like, oh my God, I can't sleep at night now. I've already put $30 into this thing. So I'm going to give it 1 and say, yeah, if you're a completionist, go for it. There are copies available on eBay and Amazon that are used copies, but that I would say this is definitely for the completionist. It's definitely a way to see how something could go horribly wrong. Even when, you have some talented people behind this, it did not go well. Well, that'll do it for today's Christmas episode. We thought we'd put this one up because it's so different. And hopefully this didn't ruin everybody's Christmas out there.
If it does, then I would heartily recommend watching The Muppet Christmas Carol as a palate cleanser.
Yes.
Yeah. And we'll make up for it next week with this really awesome episode. So, it's fine.
Exactly. It's all good. It's all good. So we'll tune in next week. We can get the Good Feathers reunion, ladies and gentlemen. But before we get all to that, let's go and get to some contact information. Nathan, where can people get in contact with you online?
Well, Twitter's a great place, and I'm on it. And Jake can go FT, that's me on Twitter.
Okay. And Kelly, what about you?
I'm also on Twitter at Yoda Princess, YODAPRNCSS, or email me, Kelly at BigShinyRobot.com.
Okay, and as for the Animaniacast, we are on Facebook and on Twitter and Instagram, and of course you can also check out our Discord channel, which is discord.animaniacast.com. Join the fun over there with all of the other RetroZap folks, and of course, there's tons of other podcasts on RetroZap that you can listen to as well, whether it's Star Wars, pop culture, video games, movies. Well, it's all covered over at retrozap.com. So head on over there. And in fact, if you're, we're just wrapping up, I believe, the X-Wing Christmas series. And even I wrote an article for it, which is something I'm not used to doing. But I wrote a little thing about how the year Dash Rendar saved Christmas. So if you're into Star Wars and you want to see how that connects to Christmas for the writers over at RetroZap, check that series out. It's pretty cool. Well, with that, let's go ahead and close all up. So, for Nathan and Kelly, this is Joey saying good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Good night, everybody.
Ho, ho, ho.
Turn the page already.
This podcast is not endorsed by Warner Brothers or Amblin Entertainment and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Animaniacs, the Warner Brothers logo, all names, pictures, and sounds of the Animaniacs characters or any other Animaniacs-related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Warner Brothers, Amblin Entertainment, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Animaniacast unless otherwise indicated.
Can you believe I'm doing this for scale? Hey, where's my $464?